So there are certain things that I think most people know when they're going camping that they need to bring. So their food, their clothing, towels, sheets, those sorts of things that are kind of everyday for any type of this type of vacation. But there are some tools that we've found over the years that are really helpful that you might not think about. So we're going to talk about those now.
Yeah. So one of the very handy tools that we learned after the fact was a tile for the keys so that you can find your keys if by any chance you might have misplaced them in a restroom or on the ground someplace when you're running after the dog. It never happened to us or anything, but just in case it does, you might want to use your tile so that you know where your keys are. My second favorite tool are my gloves, my leather gloves. I love them because if I can drive a rig and if I can park a rig and if Brenda can drive a rig and park a rig, anybody can. We got this, but this gives your hands more power. One of the things you ask people, everybody who's an RVer wants to share something with you. So I asked Brenda's dad, I said, what is the most important tool? He said a channel lock. I said, no, what is the most important tool? He said a channel lock. Well, this is a channel lock. So what it does is it goes way farther than you think you'll ever do. How often do I use it? Every single trip. This is a very handy tool.
What do you use that for?
Well, I use it to grip. I use it to grip things that I might not be able to. The hookups, for example, the water hookups. It can even go around and reach around some of the dump hookups. It can do anything. If I can't do it, it can do it. There are hooks that your basement door goes closed to. Sometimes those hooks get out of alignment. You need a persuader. So we have two persuaders, but this one's the heavy persuader. And what we do is we knock and move and push the little lever so that you can get the door closed. This, in order to get it up, you want to swing it up with some power. If you need it to go down, what you're trying to do is get this latch to hook onto this. So that is enough. This is serious business. So this will move it just enough so that you can close it. Does everything. Fixes a little piece of plastic on the microwave, holds down carpet, puts your lights back on, does all kinds of things. You can never live without duct tape, home or home away from home.
Our rig does have a microphone in it, but it doesn't always work very well. And you never know what the situation is going to be when you get to a campsite. Somebody could be mowing the lawn, you could have dogs barking, kids yelling. So it's just really nice to have the walkie-talkies. And we make sure that we are only listening to each other. Sometimes your neighbors or other people want to be helpful and help you back in or back out, especially two women. They think they might want to give us some help, but we've learned that we only listen to each other, and having the walkie-talkies really helps make sure that we do that. There's a lot of situations where we'll use these when we're, for some reason, not together, or when Patty's in the driver's seat and I'm outside. So walkie-talkies are really critical.
So this is kind of helpful for things you can't reach. If you're trying to go under the rig and bring things out, if you're up above and you're climbing the ladder and you want to take a branch off, this is a very helpful tool to have.
Also, if you get to a site and there's a lot of gravel and you want to clear the gravel out a little bit so your tires aren't picking up the gravel,
we never did that.
It's a good use as well.
Okay. They're pretty much everything that you would have at home. A couple of screwdrivers, a couple of hammers, box cutters. What else is in here? Oh, Sharpie. You never know when you're going to need a Sharpie. So those are handy tools to have.
All right, so some other things. You never know what the bugs are going to be like. So we've run into all different kinds of bugs. So any kind of bug repellent, citronella candle is really important. Right now, most states do not want you transporting wood back and forth between the states, so you really do want to buy your wood locally. But one of the things that we started doing was buying fire starters. And I tell you, I used to feel like this was a little bit of a cheat. But we're going to camping to relax and have a good time. So even though I know we can start a fire without a fire starter, it's a really nice, convenient item to have. So this is what Patty just mentioned my being a Girl Scout. So in Girl Scout, we used to call these a sit-upon. And these are so nice to have. You just never know what you're gonna get when you get to a campsite. Usually you have some kind of table, but it could be dirty, it could be muddy, it could be wet, which we found out last weekend when we were traveling. So it's always really good to just have something to sit on, and these come in really handy. First aid kit, super critical, just really important to have a first aid kit. We also have a little medical kit that has things like Tylenol and Neosporin and things like that, but really important to have your first aid kit. And actually headlamp. We really like our headlamps at night for when we're going out. If we have to walk the dog, we get to a place late, or if we're going to use the restroom, something like that, because it keeps your hands free. We also have standard flashlights, but we really like the headlamps. We like to keep our hands free. Helps you keep your balance when you're walking on uneven ground, or if we're taking the dog. Just a really good thing to have. So this is a great tool. This is our little step stool. This is our indoor step stool. Typically we use this inside to give ourselves a little height to get up into the higher cabinets. But we also have a 3-step step stool for outside the rig, which is also great. Lets us get up and see what's on top of the awning, if we need to brush off leaves, or if we need to check and see what's going on. It's a really great tool to have both inside and outside the rig. As people continue their camping experience, they really find out the tools that they need, right? So these are the ones that we find really helpful and that we think are good for the type of camping that we do.
First advice.
Right, exactly. But people, as they go on and they learn what they need and what their rig needs, they'll get their own set of tools that they'll use.